Down the inside,
what a move! The Aston Martin driver is desperate to keep a hold of the position. Oh, how has he managed that as well?
Wow.
Will he go on the inside? Oh, he tried it. squidges out.
Big crash there. Turn 15, isn't it?
Oh, he's dropped. What a move for the SF.
Wow.
Jolly, world champion for the second time in a row.
Vidal is a four-time champion.
And Harvey is the F1XL Season 17 champion. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1XL. Oh my goodness, I was going to say something different. It's not WR or ORL. We are at F1XL. We are on YouTube for the first time as a live stream. We're having technical difficulties as per usual on an F1XL stream. Ollie and I can't connect to Discord together for some unknown reason, so you've only got my face for this one this week. Ollie, first race of the season for you. Last time out, it was won by CRT Steph while you were away working in the Netherlands. Very, very rude of you not to be on the commentary box. But welcome along now, and for a season that is going to be a huge here at F1XL.
It's crazy that those seasons have flown by. I know you've been obviously here from the start, but for me, what was it? Fourth or fifth season now, maybe. Trying to think back of how many I've done, but yeah, it's great to be back here in the top tier, and especially with obviously Steph winning last week. We talk about Steph so much, don't we, over the last couple of seasons in F1 and F2 leagues, and he's been fantastic. And to get a win ahead of Harrison as well is great. And it's also great to see Swain back after his break from F1XL. So hopefully he sticks around for the season to add some more spice to this season, guys. So yeah, hopefully it's a good season. And yeah, round two, CotA, can't complain at that at all.
Yeah, it's a big track this here in America. I don't know if I prefer it over Miami or not, because Miami sometimes has some incredible racing happening. However, I suppose it should be time for us to possibly get to track and have a look at who is doing what, where, how, when, and all of the above. 15 minutes left of this session remaining, and you know what? Let's go on board with this man. Haven't spoken much about him so far this season, and that's Lightshock.
Well, funny enough, guys, I was just about to suggest Lightshock is the first man on circuit to do a timed lap, so we'll stay on board with him. Obviously, purple in sector 1 as he comes flying through this uphill section down towards the hairpin and onto the main overtaking point on the circuit here at CotA. Lightshock obviously last week finishing outside the points, and yeah, unfortunately not starting his season the way he usually liked to. So hopefully this season he can do a little bit better. Binary retiring from the session. I don't know whether that is for a penalty of some sorts. Maybe you guys can enlighten me later on. But Lightshock comes down towards the hairpin for the very first time. Turn 12, main overtaking opportunity. And this section here is great, guys. I love the start of sector 3 because it can go side by side almost all the way to 19 in this point of the circuit. And again, another overtaking opportunity through there. But Lightshock seems to do a good job as he nails this section, stays wide and cuts back in towards the end of 18 and 19. And one more corner to go. Make sure don't run too wide on the exit of 19. Will cost you your lap time here. And he starts the final straight to cross the line with a 34.024. Whether that's good or not, we'll have to wait and find out.
Well, it's not easy. I say esports WR times because the WR was this week at CotA as well. So, but obviously with the pre-setups that we've got here at F1XL, it's always slightly different. Anyway, Jellyman Tim, absolutely incredible race from him last time out. He's getting a nice little toe from his teammate as he comes down this back straight into turn 12. He's going to be doing all he can, clips as much of the curb as possible. Master Swain, or Swain as he's called now, is a 33.7, setting as much as he can about above the rest at the moment. But Harrison and the other one that was won last week, I can't remember his name, Game Man Steph. What a great start to the stream. Hey, Ollie, first time on YouTube and I can't remember drivers. Harrison puts a 33.9 on it. Swain leading the way at the moment. Sketchy Crib putting it between Lightshock and Sky is blue. But here comes Jellyman Tim. Can he replicate the form that he had last time out? I believe it was a 5th place finish for him. It's into 4th place for him at 34.1. That's a good lap time for the Ferrari man.
Yeah, great lap time from Jellyman Tim, showing us what he's made of. We've seen, I'm sure he was racing in the All-Star race, wasn't he, Gareth? Yeah, and he gave us a good show there, didn't he? So, jumping up to Tier 1 now with the big boys, so hopefully he can hold his own. Like I said, well last week in the opener, finishing in P7 in the end there for Ferrari, but currently the best Ferrari striker down in 15th. No lap time set just yet, but he's out on track, so hopefully we'll get a lap time from him sooner rather than later. Another name nice to see, Gareth Theory up there. Obviously we saw him in the All-Star race as well, doing well, so good to see a few names doing well early doors. But Swain tops the board with a 33.7 for him, and then you've got two tenths back is Harrison, last year's champion, so we'll see whether he can back it up, Gareth, with another title this year.
I tell you what, these two Ferrari drivers are working in sync. It's incredible stuff for them, both using each other to get a slipstream down that long back straight between turns 11 and 12. And I tell you what, if I think that is possibly the best teamwork. This could be the best team on the grid just because of chemistry, I think. And I mean, you know what? I don't think anyone has ever said that about a Ferrari in a long, long time. Maybe Kimi Räikkönen and Sebastian Vettel were the last ones that were as in sync. But let's see what Straka can do. Round the final corner, across the line for the Ferrari Tier 1 driver. Into P5 for the time being. Very good lap times from both of them. And Game Man Steph in P6. I think you mentioned him putting his lap time together. But it's interesting to see how good some of these drivers are. CotA Gaming, a 34.001. Agonisingly close to the 33s.
Yep, couldn't get any closer, could he really? Well, no, he'd get a 34 flat, but then, yeah. Well, anyway, digress. Yeah, no, close, pretty close with CotA Gaming, but as we know, guys, CotA Gaming is a great driver, but his form is in qualifying, so I'm hoping in the off-season he's improved on his race results and we can see him do a little bit better this year compared to last. But again, early doors for the Williams team up into P3. I'm just waiting on Santiago, aka Sanchez, Mr. Canada. He's not far from Canada, but we'll see whether he can replicate that here in the USA. In 16th, and Silver Chris still in the pit lane for the Haas and the Aston Martin driver respectively at the moment. But again, bit of a spread at the times now, Gareth. You've got 33 down to 39 Fury, so I'm hoping that gap does close up a little bit in this session. But just trying to find someone on a lap, Gareth. At the moment, can't see too many people on flying laps, so hopefully we get one sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think let's go with the current champion. Let's see what he can do, because Archie really making a mistake, making a mess of things at the Maggots and Beckett section here at America, and I'm struggling to actually speak right now, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on with me. Maybe it's the commentary that we had just before this one, Ollie. We're putting ourselves through the paces here tonight. Interesting, 9.5 minutes left of qualifying to go. People are back out again. No one's wanting to save tyres. They wanted to pushing all they can with getting this track rubbered in, but we will stay on board with Harrison as long as he doesn't invalidate for the whole lap, just to see, you know, he is the champion after all. He deserves the stream time. He's done a fantastic job last season. We didn't watch half of it, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Gibson up into P10, good for his debut, I think.
Yeah, Gibson, great job so far. Another lap here for the Mercedes guys. Also, Elder, obviously, both Mercedes drivers. I think Elder's new as well, if I'm right thinking, Gareth.
Yes.
Yeah. So, brand new team. We'll see how that dynamic works as the season progresses on this year. Quick look at the standings. We're both finished. I can't see Elder down in 15th and Gibson.
Gibson's it's his debut, so another.
I was just about to say, yeah,
Yeah.
debut, yeah. So, yeah, hopefully both have a good race. I wish the best of luck to every single driver, but unfortunately, Gareth, we need the top 10 score points, unlike in the All-Star race where everyone gets points. So, hopefully both do well and they give us some action here. But Harrison on a good lap so far, coming down the back straight here. Main overtaking opportunity coming into the final sector here at CotA, turn 12. Not quite. We'll see. We'll go into the sector. And that's a huge corner cut there, but looks wasn't a invalidation. But 3 tenths up on his lap time, and he's also purple in that middle sector, Gareth. So our reigning champion is turning up the heat on Swain.
Definitely at the moment. Obviously, Gamerman Steph hasn't had the best of lap times, currently P6. And you mentioned about, only top 10. I've got a favourite for this, like a favourite driver this season, and that's Jellyman Tim. I want him to do the best he can. It's so nice. It's like it's an incredible story, but let's see what Harrison can do. He is pole by some margin to Swain at the moment. What can Swain do in comparison? He's down on his lap time. So I don't think Swain is going to do much on his. Light Shock, maybe he's coming around the last corner. Can Light Shock go back to the season 16 days and get himself higher up? Let's have a look at what sort of time Light Shock does. It's a lovely time from Light Shock, a 1:33.6. So Light Shock, this is a Light Shock of old. This is good stuff from him.
Yeah, good early pace from him, and he'll be wanting to seek revenge after last week's disappointing outing for the Alpine driver. Just over 2 tenths slower than Harrison, but plenty more time in this session to go, and rubber will be laid into the circuit, so 6 minutes 25 left. Definitely time for at least 2 more laps if he really wants to, but unfortunately for Lightshock and Harrison, there's a whole grid of drivers that's still going round. But Santiago and Chris, there we go. Chris is on his first flying lap, the Aston Martin driver. I think Chris Gareth has been in almost every single team in his career here in F1XL, but now in the Aston Martin, he comes around the final corner to set his first flying lap here at CotA and up into P2, and that's just a hundredths ahead of Lightshock in seconds. A great lap done from Chris. And maybe Gareth is Chris of old as well, not to harper back to the old days, but both these guys doing well here. Swain involved as well. I don't want to boast about season 16 after how good it was back in the day, but it could have another one of these with Harrison mixed in there as well. Steph throwing his hat in the ring as well. We could have a corker of a season this year.
Steph invalidates on the the exit of the second to last corner, turn 19, and it looked like he was on for a good lap. He was up on his time, but nothing, not to be at this moment in time. Let's invalidation for Stracker as well. Anyone else going to give us a lap time? FG Yatum, good to see him back, but he's invalidated on his. Santiago has invalidated on his. And let's just have a look at what sort of time. 33.3 was his lap time. Maybe he's one to watch out for. With that higher time, yes, it was an invalidation, but it's got to be something close to that.
Yeah, if you can continue that sort of pace and keeps the car in the boundaries of the circuit, definitely for him. But again, so many things can go wrong in a lap time. A lapse in concentration can really affect you so much, and we've seen it in the past from these guys. So hopefully, you can get round and get a proper lap time this time around. Atom is around. He's kept that car at the barrier. There's a bit of a whisker between his rear right and the Armco barrier on the other right side. Yeah, I think he's just run. He's gone for another spin at him. So, yep, he'll have to go around once again, it looks like, to set a proper lap time. I think those tyres need to be changed now, and hopefully got another set left in the bank. 4 minutes left. He should get out in enough time, but Gareth, everyone will want to be out on circuit, so it's also finding a spot on circuit to do a lap time.
Yeah, and I think that's what caught a few people out at Portugal last week, was getting themselves out in space, and it wasn't always possible at certain moments in time. But let's have a look at Archie. He's yet to set a lap time. The only driver who, well, he has set a lap time. I don't want to say a meaningful lap time, because a 35 is quite off the pace at the moment for Archie, and we know how good he can be. Santiago being the driver yet to set a lap time with the Haas team at the moment. He's popping into the pits. There's a few drivers coming out now. Yellow flags, and I think that's for a Ferrari that's popping into the pits. But yeah, Archie, need to see a little bit of improvement for the McLaren team here, because he is struggling at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit off his teammates in Swain. I mean, that's a difficult challenge. But Archie has been up there in the past, Gareth. We've seen quite a few times actually, some great racing from the McLaren drivers. So something to work on. Yeah, it could be just a case, CotA isn't one of his tracks. We've seen plenty of times where drivers have a preference over different circuits, and this could be one of those ones that isn't in his favour. But we'll see what he can do as he comes through. Well, he's still 5-minute lap, so you have to come in. Well, I'm sure this will be his flying lap now. You can time it right, Gareth. He should hopefully be out the way of everyone else, but everyone's starting to creep out the pits for one last final lap here in Circuit of Americas, and Archie starts his flying lap. Hopefully this will be the one for him.
Yeah, we will wait and see how he can do. Nice and tight to the apex on turn 1. That's exactly what he needs. McLaren driver, a lot of pressure on him right now, because if he makes a mistake, that is pretty much qualifying over and done with, and that is not what you want. And this is well, tight at the moment for him. It's nice and smooth as well, which is great to see from Archie.
Yeah, no, it is good, but that's only the first section, Gareth. 2 tenths up on his lap time. He's got a big old chunk of time to gain on a few of the other drivers. Elder's not too far ahead of him, actually, less than a tenth split, 15 and 16, but hopefully Archie, as the Archie we know, Gareth, should be able to get a little bit further up the grid as he comes down the main straight. So Williams getting out of the way nicely. Sorry, an Alpine getting out of the way of the McLaren driver coming into the end of sector 2. Let's see if he's up on his lap time here as he comes across the middle sector. He's just about up on his lap time, Gareth, so it might not be a too much of a jump for the McLaren man.
Yeah, not ideal, and there was a little bit of a mistake out of 14 as well, which is not ideal for the McLaren driver. We have Straka on lap time as well, so it'll be interesting to see how he can continue. There is an Aston Martin that could very much get in the way if he's not careful of CRT Archie, but here he is around the last corner for Archie. Can he do anything about the lap time? It's across the line. It's a 34.7. It's up to P14, so it's not too bad. But other drivers are on a lap as well, so it will be interesting to see. Here comes Straka. I wonder if he's using his teammate as he is, I think, a little bit of a slipstream from the Ferrari team once again. Jellyman Tim is on an outlap. He's got to be quick though, Jelly, because he could run out of time to set a lap time. Who else could very well? Is that? I think there's a Williams setting himself ready down the back straight now, but we'll stay on board with Straka as he runs through these final few corners. Can he improve on his current P9 position?
Yeah, we'll see what he can do to start his final. He's got his own teammate ahead of him, so hopefully he gets out the way there at the right time. I'm sure he will. Swain has left the session for one reason or another. He was him and Ash Rainbow were coming together at turn 1, so hopefully that's not affected Ash Rainbow's time too much. But Straka comes through turn number 1. That will be a hectic place at the start of this Grand Prix, but down the hill through 3, 4, 5 and 6 he goes, clipping each curb the best he can without losing the back end and cutting it to a fine line not to invalidate his lap time here. Through he goes to the uphill section of turn number 8 and 9, hops over the curbs nicely and down the hill towards turn 11 for Straka. The checker flag is out. Swain will start the best of P4. Into the hairpin he goes, and he's not. His team's ahead of him, but I think he might be too far ahead, Gareth. I think they're doing their own personal laps here. Yeah,
it's interesting to see all the times. Flickering, Light Shock, Sinful Chris. Light Shock. Oh no, Sketchy Crib throwing himself into P2. Yes. I was trying to think who put himself up there. That's incredible lap time for Sketchy. Sinful Chris then takes that away, and agonisingly close to Harrison. Harrison wasn't able to go quicker. Straka still on his lap time. We're giving a lot of stream time to Straka tonight. Jellyman Tim is ahead of him. There's an incident with Haas, I think it's Santiago, and someone getting in trouble Maybe Archie, but here comes Straka round the second penultimate corner and into the pit, so he's not doing anything. Jellyman Tim goes P4. What a lap time from him, a 33.5. Look how close that top 4 is. Well, top 5 is. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's only 5,000 splitting first and second, and there's only 5,000 splitting third and fourth cars. So the front 2 rows side by side are in fantastic form here. I think that's the end of qualifying here. But what a race that was. Quality that was. Frantic action. Gap seemed to form further than we go, but the top 7, top 9, all within half a second of each other, which is great to see. But race is a different story, guys, as we well know.
Definitely right. I mean, it's great to see Jellyman. I think people are going to get fed up with him, me saying stuff about him. But it is Harrison on pole position. His last lap wasn't improved, but he was still able to hold it away from Sinful Chris by a small margin. Second row of the grid, see Sketchy Crib and Jellyman Tim, with 5th going to Light Shock. 6th, Swain, who was unable to set a last lap there. 7th to Fury, 8th to GotA Gaming, 9th to Gaming Man Stefan Straka, rounding out the top 10. In 11th place, we see Ash Rainbow with JW Gibson in 12th on his debut. Skies Blues 13th, FG Atom 14th, 15th going to Archie, Elder in 16th, Santiago unable to set a lap time in 17th, and Binary retiring for a qualification ban with an incident with Liam Hammond last week. In 18th place, has to have a lot of work to do.
They do. Both guys right at the bottom of the grid. But Gath, we know CotA can cause safety cars. We could have rain in this race as well, being it the Texas. Yeah, we have had rain in the past, but safety car is definitely a big thing here. So we'll see whether that happens or not. But yeah, those guys at the back have got a lot of work to do. But you know, if it's Binary and Santiago, guys, we know how quick those guys are in race format. So I think they'll have no problem negotiating the drivers ahead of them. But it's if the top guys run away too early and whether it's too much for them to get through and catch up the top guys.
Well, Binary's pace has dropped off a little bit. He's really struggled at Portugal. It was hard to watch sometimes, because when you know someone that good having that much difficulty, it's never good to watch. So hopefully he'll be a little bit more with it tonight at United States. We will wait for, I think, trying to get everyone back into the lobby and make sure things are ticking over smoothly. But looking at it, it's a great lap time from Light Shock. It's a turn of form at the right time, I think. He needs it at the beginning of the season, just to make sure it's good for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, if you go into a season confident with pace, that's definitely going to help you. We've seen guys, maybe filter off the season goes on because of results, or they're not enjoying the game. But I'm hoping Light Shock has had a good pre-season and he can get his fingers into this and get a result. It's not easy when the grid gets harder and harder every year. We've seen some guys appear, Harrison, Steph, out of nowhere really, and do well. So Light Shock got his work cut out, as well as Swain, Binary, and the rest of the gang. So we'll see what he can do. I think there's other names you could throw in the hat. I think it's still very early doors, Gareth, to really try and predict the protagonists this season. I think there's too many maybe this year to try and pick from.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's not going to be one flying away from anyone else. I don't think yet. We'll probably mid-season we'll obviously have a better understanding at mid-season. But with some new names in here and some returning faces that haven't been before, really looking forward to see how it all pans down. Hopefully, we can get the racing underway very, very shortly. Second of the Americas is a great one for it, great amount of action. So really, really hopeful for a good one here tonight. And I'm just going to check, because there was I'm trying to think what's going on. I don't think Swain can get back in. which is really frustrating.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It might, yeah, if we can't get back at this stage, he fortunately won't be able to get back in at all unless we restart the lobbies. Swain has joined, so there we go.
Oh,
Speaking of the devil, he may appear, Gareth.
Good, that's good. That's good. I was just trying to catch up with the chat because, yeah, interesting one. But he's back, so it's fine. Hopefully, he can get racing underway very, very shortly. I'll ask early. Who do you think is going to win this race?
Too early, Gareth. I'm not used to this. I've got the stat. I can check the standings, can't I? Go race director. If it will load, there we go. Who's going to win this one? Very good question. Steph won it last week. I think we'll have a new winner this week. I think Harrison's been quick, and we know how good Harrison is, but he is susceptible to a mistake from time to time. We saw that in the All-Star race a few weeks ago, but I think this to defend his title, I think he'll nail this one, Gareth. He was quick and quality, so for me it's going to be ETE Harrison.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The lobby is starting now. So 12 seconds away. We do have a formation lap here, so hopefully no issues. And let's get ourselves back over to the race side of things. And you know what? I don't want to say his name because it might end up him crashing out, but I'm going to back Sinful Chris.
Oh, you won't like that, Gareth. You do know that.
Oh no, he'll hate it. He will hate it. And I'm waiting for abusive message from him already. Let's look at it. Harrison obviously leading the way. Sketchy Crib has put himself up into a fantastic position. Both Alpines there, third and fifth. Going to be an interesting one to see how it all pans down. And bearing in mind the Division 2 champion Sketchy is there up at the top. We can't forget Jellyman Tim was Division 5 last season.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? The fact he's jumped up all the T1. You know, it shows how much he's put the effort in, and he's reaping the rewards, Gareth. You know, especially after a good finish last week. But again, first race of the season. You know, CotA's a very different circuit to Portimao, so we'll see whether he can continue that form this year. In this race, but. He's in a great position, Gareth. Fourth place. You've got some good drivers around him as well. Both the Alpines. He's an Alpine sandwich. So hopefully they don't bully him too much in the early stages of this race. But if you go forward, Gareth, he can do anything in this race.
Yeah, anything can happen. We've got 28 laps of pure aggression, I think we're going to see from a lot of these drivers. Not aggression to each other, just aggressive to the track. They're going to be driving like the track owes them money. I don't know why I feel like that. I just have that feeling tonight that these guys are just going to really push as much as they can. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Sinful Chris, I believe, won here in Season 12 from Binary and Light Shock. So, did I say Season 12? I meant Season 16. So I think that's going to be an interesting one. I don't know why I said 12. What is going on? Anyway, any final words before lights out?
Drivers, start your engines.
Fair enough.
So it's very, very American of me. Thinking of, I watched the Daytona 24 Hours, so that's what it was. They did that there, so apologies.
Fair enough. I think, yeah. So disqualification for Gamer and Steph, which means he's further back on the grid than he would have wanted. Which car is that coming into the slot now? There's I think it's Swain's car getting very, very delayed. But here we are on 5 red lights for the Circuit of the Americas, and away we go. It looks like an incredible start from Swain down in 5th place. He's already making moves. He's gone to the inside, the outside of the track, Sinful Chris up the inside of Harrison, and Swain has dropped down the places. I'm not sure what's going on there, but Harrison and Chris side by side, but it's not happening. Everything at the moment is looking all good. Swain down 3 places now. Stracker up a few places, but Swain is plummeting.
Yeah, not sure what's happened to Swain. He's been involved with a few instance in that midfield, well, now the back of the pack, really, Skies Blues made a mistake as well. It looks like down 5 places from where he started. Binary fighting away with Tim Santiago, making mistakes as well. Yellow flag, and that's Gibson out of the Grand Prix. And we have a safety car on lap number 1. I didn't see what happened to Gibson there. I think something to do with Skies Blue and Binary, maybe. Don't see if there's any damage to a few of the cars here as they come round turn number 11, Gareth. But unfortunately, one of the new runners is out early doors in this race.
That's not ideal at all, and not what he would have wanted on his debut here. Hopefully, it won't have deterred him at much at all, if anything. But we do have a safety car on the first lap, which is not something we've had in a while.
No, I did mention we'd expect one, Gareth, but not this early, to say the least. Yeah, really disappointing, especially the first sector is quite close and tight, and the barriers are closer than any other part of the circuit. So unfortunately, we've lost one driver in the early stage, but hopefully he can tune in and watch away, and he'll come back stronger in next week's race. But does anyone dive into the pits? Was it McLaren? Is that last? No, everyone's trying to put us off, Gareth, I think. But I say that though, Steph is in the pits early doors. He's on a set hard at the moment, so he could be using that set, get out of the way early. But usually we see this later on in the race, so I'm not sure what his plan is here. Set of mediums for Steph, as Binary also in the pits. No front wing change for him either, so only a set of tyres for both these drivers. So quick stops for them, and hopefully they'll get back to the back of the train fairly quickly, and we'll get racing very shortly.
Well, interesting one. Swain can't control his car, which is could be why he plummeted down the order a little bit as well. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I wonder if Game Man Steph and Binary will come back out. Go back into a set of hards and see if they can eke. It won't be fun, but they might be able to eke the tyres out those hards that little bit longer. I would. It's such a high tyre deg track. This they can't go to the end, surely.
I mean, these guys will try anything they can, Gareth, and they could well do that. But we'll see what they both do. Both on a set of fresh medium tyres at the moment. Bit of a mixed grid when it comes into tyres. I think it's 50-50 looking at the tyre selection at the moment. But yeah, interesting to see what Steph and Binary do here. Whether they come in now or they stay out. But well, they're going to have to. Well, maybe they're hoping for a safety car. Maybe I don't know what their plan is. A safety car shouldn't be in on this lap, but everyone has caught to the back of the train, and I'm thinking it should stay out for one more lap at least. Here at CotA, but looking at the positional changes, Gareth, winners and losers, Atom up 5 places, a frantic start for him, and then you got Archie, Elder and Santiago all up 3 places, and the real losers in that are Swain and Steph. Swain's down 4 and Steph down 7, but Steph obviously is pitted. He's going to pull into the pits again here, as is Binary. No, we're staying out, Gareth. So they ignored what we said, and they're doing their own thing.
So I think now they're going to do a double medium stint, which might actually help them, because they'll be faster than the hard runners, and then the medium runners that haven't pitted will be on hards at the end of the Grand Prix. So this could be a perfect strategy from both of them. We will definitely wait and see how it will all pan out. But it doesn't look like Swain will be able to get back into. I'm not sure what's happened. So I think that's it for Swain. He is in a world of pain.
Yeah, that's really not. I don't think he reset his wheel. Maybe I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Binary's made a mistake actually, guys. Binary spun on the safety car. That's an unusual for a former champion to spin on the safety car, and he drops. Well, he's at the back of the grid anyway, but hopefully it's not affected his tyres too much in all that. But yeah, Swain, hopefully, I don't know whether there's a PC thing, Gareth, because obviously we're racing on Xbox here, but yeah, hopefully he can fix it and we can get him running at full speed.
Yeah, we'll problems throughout, but by the looks of things, the AI is using ERS for him, ERS that is, under the safety car conditions. So yeah, cracking from that. But the safety car is in this lap. Harrison going to lead us. Well, will be the safety car at de facto from this point forward. What do you reckon? Will Harrison go early or late?
He usually goes early, doesn't he? My memory serves me right.
I can't remember.
I'm trying to think back now. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I think on the first one he goes early, and the second one he goes late. So we'll see if my memory serves me correctly. Time
will tell. Let's see how he'll handle it. He's got Sketchy and Simple Chris right behind him in the opposite order to what I said. And Harrison has gone, but I think there was a little wobble at the exit of turn 19, which could have cost him a little bit of time. And I think Simple Chris... Oh, when we've lost someone into the wall, that's light shock. Has he got damage? I'm not sure, but Harrison goes defensive into turn 1. I don't think there's much to it. Swain's AI is dropping down the order. Past goes Archie. Simple Chris, though, a little bit further back. CotA Gaming is dropping away from Jellyman Tim a little bit, but that could be the space left by the Alpine. As SRT Fury looks to get some really good points for Aston Martin this week, because he's, second and sixth respectively at the moment. Santiago being passed and attacking. What is going on in the background here? Because there is some big overtaking moves.
Yeah, Elders dropped down to the back of the grid here. I didn't see what happened to him as Barney obviously and Steph got passed on fresh tyres. But yeah, frantic action at the moment, as to be expected after a safety car restart. And again, always difficult to know who's on board with. Santiago gets past Swain. He's gone wide though. And that's allowed Sky's Blue as well as Steph. They're side by side. Steph goes up the inside of Santiago, and Santiago needs to calm it down, I think, a bit, Gareth, because he's been very frantic and he's losing places with his attempted overtakes.
Yeah, it's struggling for him a little bit. And game man Steph getting right up to the diffuser of Sky is Blue, and he goes up the inside, the fresher tyres, and the medium compound is working to his advantage, but the switchback for Sky is Blue is on through turns 16, 17 and 18, and game man Steph does hold the position, but he's taken a compromise line into 19, but it's not going to affect him too much. Harrison, the fastest man on the track, and is pulling away from Simple Chris, and Sketchy Crib not really able to answer either, but great from both Sketchy and Jellyman Tim, currently third and fourth respectively, really holding their own.
Yeah, they are. Both still fairly new to the top tier. Sketchy Crib's been here in the past, but Jellyman Tim especially, both sitting well in third and fourth. But again, early doors, both the drivers, and Sketchy needs to get a move on to try and utilise those tyres. Obviously, difficult job to overtake Simple Chris and Harrison, especially with DRS still not being enabled in this race. But second and third have now dropped out of that second window, which will be really crucial as this race progresses on. So both need to get a little bit of a move on. They want to stay within that area, but further down the gap's still fairly similar. Got to be careful as well, Gareth. He's starting to form his own little train here from himself in fifth all the way down to 12th place in Game Man Steph.
Interestingly as well, Sketchy Crib is on a set of mediums while Jellyman Tim is on a set of hards, so that could be crucial come to the end of the race. Archie just outside the point scoring position in 11th place at the moment, battling away at this train. Because it could be split at either point, either God of Gaming or SRT Fury. It's that sort of situation right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, both Fury and God of Gaming both on hard tyres, right? Yeah. Obviously Sketchy's on medium, so Sketchy really needs to utilise those tyres sooner rather than later. So keep an eye on that gap between himself and Chris Harrison. New fast lap of the race at 37.9. As Ash Rainbow gets past Atom. They side by side. They're just about. And watch out for Archie in the background in all of this, Gareth. The Alpha goes wide. Can't go anywhere, so has to go wide. That's Ash Rainbow. But flying up the inside goes Archie. Pushes the Alpha wide. They'll be side by side through two here. And they're still side by side. Oh, he spun him around. The door was closed there it looked like Gareth on Atom, and he had nowhere to go, unfortunately, and that is Archie around, and I think that's just a bit of a driver incident there, and you can't really blame either one through there.
It's not ideal at all, and it all stemmed from Atom going wide at turn 20 and dropping down the order, but not like like we mentioned, not ideal. Jellyman Tim 2 seconds in front of CotA Gaming, 1.1 behind Sketchy at this moment in time. He does have DRS to his advantage. Sketchy finally finding his feet a little bit and trying to attack Sinful Chris as we look at SRT Fury and Stracker battling away as well. There is a fair few battles going on track at the moment, and this is what CotA does.
It does, Gareth. Yeah, it gives us a great show every single time. So, and it's doing that today, which is great to see. So, we'll see whether these battles continue as we progress through this race. Lap 6 of 28 here at Circuit of Americas. But Jellyman Tim's closing that gap down to Sketchy Crib here. He's closing the gap down to Silver Chris. So it could be a good little duel inbound between second, third, and fourth. And CotA Gaming is a little bit further away, but watch out for Fury here. Gareth closing the gap down to the Williams into turn 1. He goes late on the brakes. Has he closed that gap? Yes, he has. Just about holds the car, but Williams, can he hang around the outside? Can CotA Gaming do anything to fight back there? Side by side through 3. There you go. Williams has the inside. He has the outside for the next part of the corner. Fury has to straight line that section of the circuit and allows the Williams back through. I think that's fair enough, Gareth. Got past and let him through again. So Fury will have to go again on the next lap. Is that damage to the front right end plate though? Yes, it is, guys. It's the contact between the drivers, and that is going to be a world of pain. Just Fury now, and look at the queue of cars behind. As that's Lightshock up the inside of Stracker through turn 11. They're still side by side coming down towards turn 12 here, and Lightshock has to back out, but DRS is now enabled. Who's going to come out on top, Gareth? Ash Rainbow and Steph are in there as well. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It looks like the Ferrari Stracker. Oh, there's contact into the braking zone. Luckily, both cars stay in a straight line. As Lighthook up the inside as well, trying to capitalise on any mistakes here. Up the inside, Fury goes. Can Stracker hanging around the outside? Yes, he can. He has the better grip on the medium tyre. He has the inside for the next part of the corner. Surely not. He can't hang it around the outside of the Aston Martin. No, he can't. But watch out for Lighthook. No, he can't get through, Gareth. And that is some great racing through almost 2 sectors of that race, of the circuit.
Yeah, and looking at it from game man Steph's point of view, was really good, and there's contact between Steph and Lightshock. Into the pit goes Fury. Steph did get Ash Rainbow through all that as well. Not ideal for SRT Fury at all. Into the pits, a set of fresh boots are coming on and a new front wing, but it's all interesting stuff. Lightshock had that little love tap from game man Steph as well, but we'll go on board with Sketchy. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. So yes, let's go on board with Sketchy as we come into lap 8 of 28. So 21 laps remaining of this race, or 20 and a half with where they are on track. And Sketchy, I think those tyres are starting to go past their best.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's struggling a little bit now, still within DRS of Chris, but Jellyman is closing that gap then once again. But Sketchy Cube can chill out for a little bit. He's not under too much pressure at the moment. He's doing the pressurising, but he needs to get a move on if he wants to utilise those tyres, because they won't last forever compared to those hard tyres. But further back, Gareth, Steph gets past Lightshock in all, fronting action coming down towards turn 12 for the fight for, what would that be, P5. CotA Gaming still holding the front in all that. Unfortunately, Fury down to 17th now and away back, so he'll be hoping for another safety car in this race. But the top 4 broken away quite significantly now, Gareth. You can see it on the mini-map how much of a gap that has formed there. CotA Gaming is the guardian at the gate at the moment, and he's not letting anybody through.
Yeah, he is. He's doing his best Gandalf impression right now as they come down the start-finish straight. Gandalf of gaming, we should call him for now, because he's not letting anyone pass. Stracker trying up the inside, and I've killed Ollie. Light Shock can't get anything back on Game Man Steph, but Game Man Steph's pace right now is incredible. He's definitely using those mediums to an advantage. He might not get a win, but he could be in an outside chance of a podium. And obviously, in this season-long battle with Harrison, it's going to be a very, very tough ask. It's 2 seconds between Harrison and Sinful Chris, and Sketchy Crib and Jellyman Tim are there or thereabouts. And either of them, if either of them get a podium, they'll be absolutely over the moon, especially in this second race. They've got 5.4 seconds to CotA Gaming, and that picture shows it all, because we just saw the back end of the Ferrari of Jellyman Tim, and at turn 11, that's where CotA Gaming was, and there's just no overtaking at the moment. It's a little bit stale right now. So CotA Gaming straight line speed is up there.
I was just about to mention that Gareth CotA Gaming. Oh, I say that he's gone wide into this corner, and that slide striker sweep on through. Can CotA Gaming hold the inside line here? Through they go through the multiple left-hander. Striker has the inside for the next part of the corner, and he should secure that move. Yes, he does. Up the inside he goes, and CotA Gaming. Oh, say that coming straight back at him. You don't normally see cars go side by side to that part of the corner, but somehow he did, and luckily for Straka, he had a better momentum and flies on through up into P5 now for the Prime Man, and chase his teammate. But another mistake for CotA Gaming, who's back in, and that could allow Game Man Steph straight through. Around the outside he goes. He'll have to be late on the brakes on those medium tyres. Can he hang it around the outside here? CotA Gaming blocks him through there, but can Steph? We know how good Steph is at racing. Can he hang it around the outside? Not. You just have to push him through this section now, Gareth, and you have to stay behind him pretty much a single file until we get to turn 11.
I'll give CotA Gaming his due. He is on a set of hard tyres, and he's bashing away with these hard medium runners with incredible pace. He's definitely one to watch at the end. Santiago picking up a 3-second time penalty down in 10th place. It's 10th place, sorry, with Binary just behind him. This is going to be interesting to see how Game Man Steph handles this, because CotA Gaming will have DRS to Straka ahead, but he's so quick is Steph that it might not be enough. I don't think it's going to be enough down this straight at all. Jellyman Tim and Sketchy Crib doing great, not around the outside. CotA Gaming, he's gone off the track, and that looked like he was going to go for it then, but it went all wrong. Here comes Game Man Steph up the inside. A switchback was on. Is there contact between the two? There looked like there was going to be, but this is really tight, Ollie.
Yeah, great racing from both these drivers. CotA Gaming losing the back end slightly, and up here we go. Steph up the inside through turn 16 and 17. CotA Gaming hanging around the outside. I don't think he can. He's been hung out to dry through there. Oh, it's contact, and that's Steph around. Contact between CotA Gaming and Steph, and Steph is around. Luckily, there's no damage to that car, but CotA Gaming lost his braking through the entry of 19 and hit the back of Steph, and he's down to 14th place now. Sketchy Crib makes a pit stop in all that frantic action, but Gareth, CotA Gaming and Steph, that's going to be a triplet steal for both of them, I think.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Ash Rainbow goes deep into turn 1, and it's cost him where he got the position off Light Shock, and then it's cost him the position to Santiago. Santiago now into P6. He's finding his feet a little bit, is Santiago now, which is good to see. Light Shock just ahead of him, and Ash Rainbow still looking racy, but it's and another thing, it's great to see Ash Rainbow back in F1XL as well. He took last season off, but it was, he's got incredible one-lap pace, and another driver that was, Div 4, Div 3, and then ended up in Div 1. He is a great driver. And there's someone lost it in the background. Is that Sky is Blue? It is. He's gone spinning onto the racing line, and that is really unfortunate for the Williams driver, because he was having a good race.
Yeah, he was. We're back to the action, Gareth. Santiago goes up the inside of Light Shock, coming into turn 12. Then he makes that move stick on those hard tyres. Light Shock, again, others medium starting to wear off now in this race. But Sky is Blue having a torrid time down in 15th. I mean, only down 2 places when he started, so still plenty more time to get into it. He's not too far away from Sketchy Crib ahead of him, so it's not all over for the other Williams here in CotA. But Santiago cutting his way through the grid, and we've got a pit stop for looks like Straka on those medium tyres, Gareth.
And Light Shock's in as well, so Ash Rainbow, we're going to have to do his best to keep up with Santiago, because he is on a mission at the moment, is Santiago. The undercut here is powerful, so I think that could be why Sketchy went into the pits early, so he could have that little bit of an extra gap to Jellyman Tim when he comes out of the pits. Smart move, but those tyres at the end of the race are going to be very, very, very worn. And while you might think one lap doesn't make a difference, here at CotA it does. One lap extra or older tyres here can cost you a race.
Yeah, got to give him, makes a mistake, Gareth, coming through turn 9 then, allows Binary to fly on through. Barely spoken about the former champion in this race, but he moves up to the P6 now and he's chased down Ash Rainbow up ahead, who has a penalty, as does Santiago, for corner cutting earlier on in the Grand Prix. But back up the front, Gareth, I think Harrison is easing off now. That gap has come down by about 4/10 in this last lap alone, so I don't know if it's a mistake from our race leader, but Chris trying his best to keep up with him, and Jellyman Tim popping off slightly as well. But these guys have got a while to go before they come into the pits. I'd probably say another 6 laps before they come in with 10 up to go. Chuck a set of mediums on, and we'll see what they can do. But does anyone on this mediums? Well, Elder and Steph should be coming in shortly, Gareth, as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm keeping on this battle for P6, I think it is now, because Binary, Atom, and CotA Gaming producing some great action, which is good to see. The battle for P6 currently. Elder's into the pits. I can't remember if you said that. My brain being as old as it is.
I expected him to come into the pits, and he did what I said, so maybe he's listening. I don't know.
Maybe. Light Shock then as 3-second time penalty for CotA Gaming. That is not ideal. Let's have a look at the penalty situation. Santiago, Ash Rainbow, CotA Gaming and Skies Blue all picking up 3-second time penalties. Everyone else doing a good job, and I tell you what, doing a good job, and there's doing a good job, and then there's doing a good job, and that is Jellyman Tim. He's only 4 seconds away from the Division 1 champion. He is doing incredible right now, and fair play to Sinful Chris as well. After a topsy-turvy season last time, he's holding his own in P2. This is great driving from the Aston Martin.
Yeah, great job from him, but in the background, Atom going up the inside of Binary. God, how is there no contact? You couldn't split the tyres with a piece of paper. They were that close, but somehow Binary just about stays ahead of his rival at the moment. Got to give him. Oh, there we go. Atom up the inside he goes, but again, not close enough. We know how aggressive Atom can be, Gareth. So when it comes to racing, and he's getting his elbows out early doors as we get to the halfway stage of this Grand Prix. But Atom not close enough at the moment, and we should see. Well, no, we shouldn't see just yet from Binary and Steph. They pitted. Obviously, they've already pitted, but got to get them going wide at final corner, Gareth, and this could allow Binary and both Atom through in a few moments' time.
What they've got to worry about though is Sketchy Crib on fresh hards right behind. They've warmed up they're up to temperature, and he's up for a fight. It looks like Sketchy, because he is doing an incredible job right now. He's caught up to Gamer and Steph. Steph has to pit for a fresh set of medium at some point, same as Binary. Atom still battling away with all this as well, but look at the grip difference between Sketchy and Steph right now. Yeah,
Sketchy in a good place at the moment as he comes over the hill down. He goes towards turn 11 for the 14th time here in this race, and Archie isn't too far back either in all this. But Sketchy's got he should get a few places. Obviously, I think everyone ahead of him hasn't pitted yet, if I'm right in thinking. No, Steph and Binary pitted, but they got to go again, Gareth. So he is, well, maybe not net P1, because obviously Binary and Silver Chris and Jellyman Tim are miles ahead, but he could be in a really good place as this race progresses on here in America. But we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. But Binary still can't get past CotA Gaming here, and Atom's starting to push that horse around, especially in the start of the last sector. You can see how close Atom gets, but Binary just doing his best at the moment, doing what he needs to, but CotA Gaming is just being a great defender at the moment, and in goes Atom on lap 15. I think Gareth feels he can't get past, so an early pits up for him.
Definitely. Sketchy the advantage he had over Jellyman Tim might be being eroded away in this battle for that Sketchy's in with Steph, Binary and CotA Gaming. He needs to find a way past this Alpine, well, the AlphaTauri driver, or otherwise he is going to be in big trouble. He's so much quicker through the Maggots and Beckett's section here. I know it's not Maggots and Beckett's, but it might as well be. But he's so much quicker through this section, and you can see the grip difference. Steph is really struggling.
Yeah, I think it might be a time for Steph to come into the pits. The tyres should still be good, but compared to a set of warmed-up hard tyres, he's just can't do anything. Sketchy should be able to get him here, but Steph will have DRS from the car in front, and could Binary finally get CotA Gaming here just slightly ahead. I don't think he's going to. I think you've got to worry about Steph more than anything. Steph around the outside, slingshot move from Steph, and Steph goes up. But watch out for Binary around the outside, surely not from the half sky. No, he doesn't. And that is Steph up into P7, and he'll be the next man to tackle CotA Gaming. Well, now this is where the controversy happened earlier on. CotA Gaming hit the back of Steph, and Steph seeking revenge, I think.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be seeking revenge, I think. Let's look at this. As they're pretty much at the same point in the track where the incident happened. And into the pits then. Ash Rainbow blinks first for the hard runners in the lead of this Grand Prix. Or the front runners of this Grand Prix, I should say. As I think he will need to watch out where Atom is. Here comes Game Man Steph. I don't think he's quick enough, down the straight line speed of CotA Gaming. And I think that was where the problem lies. A lot of people are, but it's wide from CotA Gaming this time around. And Sanchez, sorry, not Sanchez, Steph is desperate to get the move. And there we go. That is Steph through and gone. And Sketchy now, after passing Binary, needs to do exactly the same as what Game Man Steph has just done to CotA Gaming.
Yeah, you can see the extra grip, like you mentioned, Gareth, coming through this first sector. He's a train on tracks here, coming through that sector compared to everybody else, and he's pushing CotA Gaming through there. Watch out for Binary, going to go around the outside and squeeze onto the AstroTurf there. And Archie has been there the whole time, Gareth, but we've barely spoken about him. It's a five-way fight now. 4P5 here. Who's going to come out on top as he comes down towards turn 12 for the 16th time? I don't think anyone's going to make any moves, and they're going to spoil my commentary coming into turn 12. I say that, no, they're all going to stay single file, Gareth. But Straka gets past Sky's Blue in the background, so there was a move eventually, as did Fury as well in all that frantic action in the midfield.
Yeah, plenty of action to happen. Here comes Sinful Chris. He's into the pits. He's going on a lap earlier than Harrison and Jellyman Tim, so he's going to maybe catch Harrison out, sleeping a little bit. Santiago into the pits as well. Probably a good time for him. Let's have a look. It says yellow flags. Who is yellow flags for? It's Sky is Blue, who's lost it again. He's not having a good race, is he? Unfortunately, Sky is Blue. Another spin, and he's down to 16th place after getting out of the way of Elder.
Yeah, not good from him, but Gareth back at the top. Sketchy Crib trying his best to go around the outside. CotA Gaming. He actually went up the inside coming into 20, but just couldn't get the grip coming out of there. Lost traction, I'd say, behind him again, but this is costing Sketchy quite a bit of time here. And I thought if he got past him, he could close down on Chris, but I think he's lost a load of time. CotA Gaming has every right to defend his position, but just can't get by him at the moment. Sketchy Crib, but they come down towards turn 11, and there surely should be the opportunity to get past him. But we know how quick CotA Gaming is in a straight line.
Yeah, it's nuts how quick CotA Gaming is, and I wonder if he's going for a set of softs towards the end of the Grand Prix. But let's have a look at it. He pulls away slightly, and you know what? Sketchy can't do it.
That gap is going up, Gareth. It's crazy. I don't know which setup he's put on there, but that went from 2/10 up to 0.38 in all that action. So CotA Gaming has just nailed the setup, especially with the position he's in at the moment. Harrison pulls into the pit. Has Silver Chris's undercut worked, Gareth? That's the question we've got to think about. Jellyman Tim also in the pits. Whether he comes out ahead of Chris, we'll have to wait and see.
I'm going to stay on board with Sketchy Crib, because that was the battle that he's going up to the inside again, but thinks better of it. That was a battle that Sketchy was having, and where is that Ferrari? Is it exiting the pit lane? I think Sketchy's going to be ahead. No, he's not. Sketchy's behind Jellyman Tim, and all this battling has cost Sketchy a podium.
It really has. Yeah, he should be up there at the moment, but CotA Gaming is just being a thorn in his side and is not letting anybody through. He's like a bouncer in a nightclub after a few drunk people trying to get into the club, and he's just not letting anybody in whatsoever. He's done a great job. In fairness to CotA Gaming, I think they're definitely a shout out at the end of the Grand Prix to hold P4 or P5 or whatever position he's in this race. But, you know, once Sketchy gets past him, he can challenge Jellyman and Chris. But Gareth back at the front. Chris going to fight for the lead here. Harrison has nothing to fight back with, and Chris goes up the inside. The undercut has worked. He gained about 2 seconds on our race leader, and that is Chris up into the lead of this Grand Prix.
Great drive, great. I'm trying to think of the right words to describe Simple Chris. It's just brilliant from him so far. SRT Fury and Straka swapping places, but Straka's throwing back around the outside. Is it going to be done? No, Straka can't hold that position. Though Straka will come back into this race towards the end when Fury is struggling. So if he can just keep up to the back end, it will be all good for him. But look at this, Sketchy now. Surely not up the inside of 19. He thinks better of it, but he's got so much better traction. Surely this time, Sketchy's finally got the move done. Simple Chris is the fastest man on the track, but that is to be expected with everything going on. And Sketchy finally into P4, but he's 3 seconds, nearly 3 seconds behind Sketchy. Behind Jellyman Tim, sorry.
Yeah, that he was behind him for, was it 4, 5, 6 laps maybe? And that's cost him so much time, Gareth. You just think if you got past him the first time, but CotA Gaming, you know, you can't take anything away from defending for his life over those laps. And straight line speed was perfect for him, and Sketchy had to get him at an unusual overtaking spot, and that going into 20, where we don't see any moves unless it's right at the end of the Grand Prix. So Sketchy finally gets through yellow flags in sector number 3, and I think that's just Swain's ghost car going slowly for one reason or another. But Chris holding the lead for now. Harrison looking towards the inside, but not close enough on this occasion. But Chris and Harrison running away with it at the moment, because Jellyman Tim has lost half a second over the last lap or so, and Sketchy closing that gap down to our P3 man. But Jellyman's on set of medium tyres, guys, so he's in a good position at the moment.
Yeah, and interestingly, Jellyman Tim was 6 seconds behind, or was it? No, I think it was 5 seconds behind Harrison before this. There's a yellow flag, and I think that is Sky's Blue that's causing the yellow flags. So I don't think he's lost too much time to Harrison in itself. It's just Simple Chris is the enigma in all this. He's doing a fantastic job at the moment. I'm watching Ash Rainbow as he tries to get at Light Shock and Santiago, but it's just not happening at the moment. Byron picking up a 3-second time penalty as well, and it's all looking good for the time being. But we will jump back up, I think, in a moment to have a look at Harrison again trying to make a move, but actually it's his teammate that looks like he could do something on Light Shock into turn 1, and he's got the inside line. Will Light Shock have the grip and the power? I think through that he will, and I think Ash Rainbow will just snip behind for the time being. So we'll go back up to the leaders. Will Harrison try and make a move on Simple Chris this time around?
Yep, in a good position at the moment. Coming into turn 11, and Chris moves the back end ever so slightly, and this could allow Harrison through here. Duris is wide open. Has he got enough track to close down on Chris? He's getting closer and closer, but not close enough. Coming into the braking zone of 12 through there, and that will have to wait another lap, it looks like that. But needs to get close to coming into 11 if he really wants a shot at Chris. And Chris zooms away in this middle sector here, or sorry, into the last sector here at CotA, and Harrison's got nothing to respond with. 7/10 splitting first and second, and Harrison needs to try and figure out where he can get him. He's quickest in the first sector and down the straight, so he needs to just make sure he can close the gap at the right moments to really try and push Chris for the lead and maybe push him into a mistake. Full yellow flag, and the top two have missed the pit lane, as has Jelly Man. Does anyone risk coming to the pit? Sketchy does risk coming to the pits, Gareth. I'm not sure who that's for, though.
I'm not sure what that is for either, but CotA Gaming gets a free, not a free pit stop, but an easier pit stop out of this. This is
Everyone's
nuts.
in the pit, Gareth. Everyone minus the top 3. It looks like a pits onto a set of, well, 8 laps, Gareth. That's soft tyres, isn't it? Let's go have a quick look at the tyres, and it is soft or medium fresh tyres for the majority of these drivers. And the top 3 risk it here, Gareth. They put a set of soft. The problem they've got is if they do pit, by the time they do pit, everyone would have caught up to the back of the safety car, and they'll be at the back of the grid. So do you stay out on fairly soft tyres, which they should be fine, but when Sketchy Crib, and we know how quick Sketchy Crib has been in this race, on a set of soft tyres, do you risk that? That's the question.
This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. Jellyman Tim thought he had the better of Sketchy Crib for the 2. Because of that incident, Sketchy's been given a full house here. He could win this race.
Well, he does have a penalty though, Gareth. And I think it's just a 3. Yeah, just a 3 at the moment. So you've got to consider that, especially with the grid will be bunched up still, even after the safety car. So there's that to consider as well.
I think he can pull away. Oh, this is tense stuff. The field is back together for Simple Chris must hate me because I think the way things stood before the safety car, I think Simple Chris was going to win it, but now, no, I don't think. And Jelly was actually catching the top guys as well, the top 2. So I don't know. Simple Chris trying to goad people going into the pits there. It just wasn't happening. But interesting. This time around, the second safety car is going to be led by Simple Chris. When does Simple Chris go? That's a big question that he needs to. You know, Harrison went middleish, I think. Does Simple Chris leave it late?
It's been a while since I've seen a Simple Chris safety car restart. That's a mouthful. Here in F1XL, Gareth. So we'll see what he can do. I think he's got to be so careful of Sketchy and the rest of the drivers because they're all on. Well, no, Binary and Archie didn't bother pitting, so those guys are getting a few places and all that. But again, they didn't really need to because they were on fresh tyres. But Sketchy's on soft tyres, Gareth. I mean, Sketchy's going to fly past these guys if he continues the pace that he has in this race. And I think, like you said, I think he might be able to get through. He might be able to do it because of even with that penalty. Whether the likes of Ash Rainbow and Steph can also get through is another question to think about. But it's good to see it allowing Elder and Sky's Blue back to the back of the pack here. I'm still unsure what happened with it. Why we haven't safety car really? I don't know whether Sky's Blue made a mistake maybe that caused it. Only because he's a little bit further back than everybody else. But yeah, no idea what caused it. But it provides extra excitement and anticipation, Gareth, for the restart now.
It provides something indeed. And what will we have? I don't think the safety car will be in this lap. So that will be 23. It comes in. So 5 laps racing. It'll be an interesting one to maintain. And the longer the safety car is out, the better for Ash Rainbow. Oh, it's in this lap. I was wrong. Let's have a look. Game Man Steph, Ash Rainbow and Sketchy probably would have preferred one more lap under the safety car, but they're not going to get it. Let's look at it from Harrison's point of view as we go round the big tower here at CotA, and Simple Chris is going to be the de facto safety car right now. He's warming up his tyres as best as possible. When does he decide to go? He isn't going at the same time as Harrison, but he has gone this time around, and I think it's caught a few people off in the back. Jellyman Tim and Harrison weren't caught out, but Sketchy Crib looking like he's got that grip underneath. Hatton picking up a penalty as well. Archie up into P6, but he's under pressure from CotA Gaming behind, and Fury is under pressure from Santiago as well, going up into the inside of turn 1, as CotA Gaming is doing exactly the same. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between Santiago and Fury, and it's very, very tasty. And I think, oh, no way, not going through there. that is an interesting... Oh, and there's big contact.
That wasn't it. And Steph was retired as well in all that. I didn't see what happened to Steph, but yeah, you can't go side. But well, I mean, you can, but those guys weren't giving each other any room at all, Gareth. And unfortunately, that is Santiago round, and don't know whether Fuse got damage in all that, but that wasn't pretty to see.
Definitely not, and yeah, rather frustrating. But we will go on board with Simple Chris, who seems to be doing having a good job at the moment. Binary and CotA Gaming battling away, but I think CotA Gaming is trying to force his way through a few of these places at the moment. And Binary are trying his darndest to hold on, but it's just not possible. Up the inside, though, into turn 15. And I think it's just a bit deep, and it's cost him his place, and he's going to have to stick to the back end of the Williams driver for the time being.
Yeah, almost had it there. Late lunge from him there through turn 19. They go. Does he make it into 20? No, we've not seen any moves into 20 just yet. But Binary looking very racy behind CotA Gaming, who's found his voice once again after being a defensive mastermind earlier in the Grand Prix, and I think it might be difficult for Binary, especially when he's on fresh eyes. But in the background, through he gets past Archie in all that frantic action into turn 1 as well. So Fury trying to close that gap to Binary up ahead, but Chris not gone away just yet. Still 5/10 between himself and Harrison. Jellyman Tim's man who's losing a little bit of time, and Sketchy is the man to keep an eye on in the background. Ash Rainbow and Atom side by side as well, Gareth. It's frantic action across the grid at the moment.
Yeah, and that move from Ash Rainbow has actually cost him 2 places because Lightshot got through as well. Will Lightshot go up the inside? He thinks about it, and he has done this side by side through turn 11, and a bit of a back end wobble there leaves Lightshot having to defend a little bit more from Ash Rainbow. And Sketchy Crib at the moment, he hasn't found the pace on those the soft tyres, so he's struggling a little bit at the moment, and he's probably a little bit frustrated with that.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, everyone's on fresh tyres, so everyone's just sort of equal playing field, but some drivers are struggling a little bit more than others. But there we go, a light shock up the inside past Atom, and can Atom respond? No, he can't, and that's light shock into the points finally. Luckily for him, all the guys behind him have penalties, so he should, it says like this, he should hold P10, but I'm not sure yet. DRS is now enabled. We'll have 25, 26, 27, 4 racing laps left of this race, so we'll see if anyone can make any moves here. I should know how to count, Gareth. I'm an engineer by trade, so I'll let you do more talking.
Sketchy then trying his best to keep up with Jellyman and Harrison, but I tell you what, Simple Chris at the moment seems like he's got this. He's doing everything right, and I mean, Harrison, he's a champion for a reason, so he might be able to have something in the bag a little bit later on. But Sketchy, maybe a bad choice going on to those softs, because it just hasn't worked out, and the back end massively stepped out for him then. And that is not ideal because it's putting him under pressure for God of Gaming behind. And that could be... Wow, the DRS is to his advantage. But here comes God of Gaming. He's going to get the move done. That's a great move if he can hold it. As Sketchy's desperate to keep the position. But those softs are just dying.
Yeah, the softs are not working whatsoever. It's strange. They've only done 4 laps on those tyres. But God of Gaming gets his revenge on Sketchy Crib. And I'm sure Sketchy is fuming in that helmet. He was stuck behind that car for so long in this race, and got to give him flies straight back through, and now he's got to challenge Jellyman Tim for P3, and Tim's actually closed the gap down, Gareth. It was over a second earlier on, and he's getting back into the DRS, so if you can keep the momentum up, Gareth, he could push for second or even first. That'd be quite a debut season here in Tier 1 if you can do that. But Ash Rainbow gets a penalty down in P12. But a slight break in time, but Binary now pushing, trying to get past Sketchy. And like you say, keep an eye on the tyres, because Gareth, with 3 laps remaining, they could just fall off completely, like we've seen in the past of these soft tyres.
Yeah, not ideal. The the people like Straka, Lightshock, and Atom, I think, had the right idea. And God of Gaming was gifted that, really, but because he stayed out on those hards for so long. But the Strakas, the Lightshocks, the Atoms, they chose the right way and put a fresh set of mediums on instead of the softs. And I think the softs have gone. And Sketchy, his race, I think, is going to go from bad to worse. Skies Blue's retired from the session. He's out. I don't think we're going to get a safety car this late. So, not ideal from him. And let's see if I can... Oh, that car is stricken. So that's on the exit of 10. And not ideal. Binary getting past Sketchy Crib. And is SRT Fury going to try and do it as well? He is. He's up the inside. And I think that's the move done. And Sketchy is dropping like a stone. Atom and Lightshock battling away. Again, a little bit of a wheel budging between the two of them. And Lightshock trying desperately to hold the position for the time being. But I think you quite rightly mentioned earlier on that the penalties should fall in his favour.
And Gareth, there's a change for the lead as well. Harrison gets past Chris coming into turn number 12 there on lap 26. We have 2 laps remaining. Can Harrison hold the lead, or will it be Chris? And those penalties will count against some of these drivers as we get to the last couple of laps here at the Circuit of the Americas. Fury should be in a good place at the moment, as will Jellyman Tim if he can hold P3. I'm sure he's hoping the top 2 battle a little bit more, Gareth, so you can catch up and maybe sneak one more place for him. But Chris losing a little bit of time now, and this could be Harrison's race to lose. Chris lost a lot of time here, actually. I'm not sure what's happened to him. The pressure may have got to him, Gareth, and he's now almost a sec behind the race leader.
I think, and this is what I meant about the tyres. That it just takes 1 lap extra here at the Circuit of the Americas, and they can just drop away from you. And Jellyman Tim could see a second place come his way if he's not. If Chris is not careful, he's got to try and get back to the back end of that Red Bull ahead. And maybe save a little bit of ERS with everything as well. But we'll go on board with Fury as he looks to battle Binary behind, and Lightshock and Atom, Archie, I think, trying to battle away for P9 as well. Archie just not giving up at the moment. He wants some points. His teammates not been having the luck, and McLaren are desperate for some points. But the side-by-side is Archie and Lightshock. This is great battling between the two of them. I wonder who will blink first. A switchback possibly on for Archie, but it's just not got the grip. And that's Lightshock up into P9.
Yeah, great move from Lightshock up the inside through turn 15. And it's difficult to defend that, and he had the better traction on the exit, and that allowed him to move up into P9. Now it could be P7 with penalties, but we'll have to wait, P8 with penalties, but we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out for the guys with 1 lap remaining of this Grand Prix. Gareth Cancer for Chris somehow close that gap down to Harrison. He needs to have a monumental first middle sector to try and close a gap on Harrison. He's trying his best, clipping every curb he can, drifting as wide as he can to maximise the traction as Elder gets a penalty down in P13, but Gareth, I think he's too far away. Yeah,
he is. Sinful Chris then really struggling for overall pace, but he's got it maybe back into that corner. It's now 0.6 of a second. Is there anything he can do down this back straight, the long one into turn number 12? He's getting close, but I think it's going to be too far away. He's drained his ERS. There's no last gasp up the inside, and Sinful Chris might have to settle for this. Binary and Fury battling away in the background as well. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit, but Sinful Chris a little bit tighter through some of these corners. Will he dart up the inside? He thinks better of it. And Harrison, who's led a vast majority of this race until Sinful Chris decided an undercut was worthy of trying to win the race, and it nearly worked for Sinful Chris. But Harrison, the champion of last season, is back to winning ways here, and he's going to cross the line and take victory at the Circuit of the Americas. Hard fought, but what a result for Jellyman Tim as well, coming home in P3 there. And Binary, actually Aston Martin in general, P4 and P2. What a race for those guys. But Ollie, a rather entertaining Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that, Gareth. That was a great race all round. Some great overtaking, some controversy as well, multiple pit stops, great defending as well. God Gaming, I've spoken about him all night. It's good to see him, Gareth, actually doing well in a race. He's plenty of times you've seen him fantastic qualifying, but not converting the race. But great job from him, I have to say, and as well as everyone else who finished. And Jellyman Tim, obviously, a podium on his second race of the season. Not bad at all from him.
A cracking result that, and Harrison taking victory here. And well, your man you picked said he would be
Yes.
the victory, and it's worked out for you there. With alongside him on the podium was Simple Chris and Jellyman Tim. Fury, Stracker, Binary, Lightshock, God of Gaming, Archie, and Sketchy rounded out the point scoring position in that order. Then it was Atom, Ash Rainbow, Elder, Santiago, and Swain. Unfortunately, won't probably be classified there. And then DNFs to Skies Blue, Steph, and JW Gibson on his debut here as well. Steph will be rather frustrated, I think, through that. But the game gave driver of the day to Binary. I think Binary does deserve a shout for it because, okay, he was helped by the safety car, but the finish P6 was pretty good. But what's your thoughts on it?
I think Jellyman Tim, you could throw his name in there. God of Gaming. No, he didn't. God of Gaming gives a shout out, Gareth, but I don't think it's driver of the day worthy from him. I think it's a toss up between Binary and Jellyman Tim.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'll let you decide.
I'm going to go with Tim, and that's not because I've got favourites, but yeah, I'm going to go Jellyman Tim for driver of the day. I'll let you get these lovely gentlemen into the party, and hopefully we get to speak to them about this Circuit of the Americas race and all the controversy and everything else we had with it. Because wow, it was a very entertaining race to say the least, and well, it's a bit of an odd one, isn't it? I think the best way to describe it is, yeah, I don't know. I think that's the best way to describe it. There was controversy, there was overtakes and everything like that. But yeah, I'll hand over to you for the podium questions.
Yeah, it's weird how we're doing this on Xbox. It's very old school, Gareth. But we'll start off with our race winner in ETE Harrison. Congratulations, Harrison, first winner of the season. Back-to-back podiums for yourself. Fairly straightforward race for you could say. Chris jumped ahead for a little bit, but ultimately you got the win out in Circuit of America.
Yeah, I enjoy this track, and Warden knows this because of obviously my charge from having wing damage on the last game to coming to get the win without penalties. But obviously this game's a bit different. But obviously, like first stint was just obviously trying to break the DRS to Chris. Couldn't really get him past 2 seconds, but that if I pushed any harder, I'd just end up overdriving the car and getting warnings. I elected to stay out one lap earlier than what Chris did. It was just because of the pack where Steph and that were, because I just didn't want to get stuck behind them on all tyres. So I elected to stay out one more lap. Then Chris pitted. Did push on my in lap. Just managed to get ahead into turn one, but I just let him go on the back straight just because I had semi-cold tyres, and I just wanted to save my ears until I needed to attack on later on. I don't know what caused that last safety car, so I wasn't really paying attention. But managed to keep with Chris, pushed him on a lap where I think he had a mistake in the S section, which kind of just giving me that exit down to the hairpin and onto the back straight and got past him. But I just want to say I'm glad to see Chris back up here. He's been struggling with this game since it came out last year, so I just want to say well done for him.
Cheers.
Yeah, Chris, great job in Peter. We'll talk to him in a little bit. But Harrison, I mean, obviously champion last season. Obviously, I'm sure your goal again is to retain that championship. Do you feel you got a bit of a target on your back this season?
I think that all the time. No.
Metaphorically, not literally.
No. I'll just be taking it a race at a time because, you never know what's going to happen at the next track.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's the second season on this game, so everyone's pace is going to be different from last season. So I'm not going to say I'm up my game, but it's obviously just trying to keep my pace as high as it can be on obviously the default setups, and hopefully grab the more wins.
Yeah. And do you think, obviously we've only done 2 races so far, but do you think the grid is a little bit closer than it was last year?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Obviously you got Jelly in here, which new to Division 1 this year. He's got great pace. Light Shock still up there. Binary, he's getting there, but obviously he's still not up to his full pace from last game. And then a few others as well. Like Swain, first full season that he's been a full-time driver. I'm actually racing him. He's probably one of the closest that I'll probably race. I know he had a desync issue as the game didn't let him take control properly. So unfortunately for him, but I know like in races come up, it's going to be quite tight where like people have the strong track and weak tracks. So obviously some of my weaker tracks will obviously be someone's strong track, so there obviously will be battles on those tracks.
Yeah, well, hopefully, if the first two races have got it in the go by, it should be a super season. So, congratulations, Harrison, on your first win of the season. We'll move on
Thank you,
to
Alan.
our second place man in Civil Chris. Chris, I think like Harris said, it's great to have you back up the top in the podiums. It was so close to that elusive win, but from fifth last week and second this week, I'm sure you're pretty happy with the start to your season.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming being up, yeah, that's for sure. The start of this game has been a bit of a shocker. Started the game quite late on compared to other people, and then it's just been playing catch up after that. Had a rough few seasons, especially last season. Dropped down to Division 2. To be honest, I probably did some good just to race against people who I don't know how to say it politely, are a bit cleaner than Division 1. Had some great battles down there, and that was sort of my level for that time. But as I grew in confidence, my pace sort of came back naturally the more I played it. But yeah, it was a tough race to try and keep up with Harrison. He had about 2.5 tenths on us in the first sector, all throughout qualifying. Sector 2 and Sector 3, I could sort of stay there or thereabouts, but he's just sort of edging away every lap there. He probably could have got further ahead had he pushed more. But yeah, towards the end of the race, me pitting early, I was just to sort of cover the guys behind us. Like Jelly was sort of floating in and around the same sort of gap me and Harrison were, so I was more covering him off than attacking Harrison. And when I came out, I came out right behind him, so I thought, well, if I'm going to get him, I may as well try. So I got him that lap down the straight. Obviously, he said he didn't really fight it, but yeah, I think pitting early cost us at the end. If I had a bit more ARS and the same lap tires, I probably could have had a go down that back straight. But through Sector 1, I was just struggling, especially in the dirty air and being on a pad. It's a bit of a struggle. Them sort of changes in direction, but. Yeah, I can't be disappointed with fifth and second, and obviously I'm driving for Aston now. Smiley won it last year. I've got to bring the big guns. I've got to be up here every week, so
Yeah,
we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, well, that might be more difficult than it sounds, Chris, with the grid we've had that race so far and the grid we've had this year. But looking at next week, we're over to Canada. Excuse me, over to Canada, so not far away. And we've got a sprint race as well. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I normally don't do too well at Canada. A lot of people struggle with the chicanes, and the corner cuttings can be really harsh around there. So, although you've got to be quick at the same time, it's all about just trying to be clean. Because, like I say, a lot of people end up with penalties, even if they don't normally at other tracks. So there might be a few surprise results come the end of the race if the penalties keep mounting up. But I mean, I've been in the top 5 for the first 2 races, so if I can float around there again next week, I'll be happy.
Yeah, it's all about consistency when it comes to the end of the season. So we wish you the best of luck next week, Chris, and well done on P2 this evening. We'll move on to our final man on the podium, Jellyman Tim. Tim, I didn't expect to speak to you so soon after the ASR race, but you come straight back into the podium places, and you must be over the moon with third place in round 2 of the season.
I didn't expect it either.
Brilliant.
I said to all my team owners that during the season I can shit out a few podiums, but I can't guarantee you a win. So I've given my podium, so it doesn't matter where I finish now. I've given that one podium.
Brilliant. How did you find the USA today?
It was a lot better than last week. Obviously, last week's first race in Division 1, I just didn't realise how aggressive everyone is. It's like it's a different kettle of fish. They're just so aggressive. So I knew for this week to stick my elbows out a bit and just fight for the position a bit more.
Well, it worked out in the end. Safety cars, I guess, went in your favour. Maybe not the last one with everyone else pitting onto fresh sets of tyres, but luckily for the top 3, you all had fairly new tyres anyway.
Yeah, I see behind as well. People had time penalties as well. And I said to Chris, like, I'm not going to do anything stupid. I'm chasing my first podium here, so.
Did you? I didn't even hear you.
I did, yeah. He was sweating for nothing then.
Brilliant. But I mean, for you, Tim, obviously, new to Tier 1, and obviously 7th last week, a 3rd today. I mean, you must be over the moon with the sort of both 2-point finishes at the start of your first season in Tier 1.
Yeah, as long as I can keep coming in the points, I'll be happy. But
yeah,
I half expected to be like fighting for P10 to P8, so anywhere in between those is fine. But anything else is a bonus.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. But well done, Tim, on your 3rd place, and also driver of the day as well this evening.
Hey.
To add to that,
not Steph.
just not Steph, no. No. I think Steph has got a trip to the stewards instead. I think that's what he's focused on. But well done on the top 3 this evening in Jellyman Tim, Simple Chris, and E.T. Harrison running off the podium. And Gareth, I'll hand it back to yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, and congratulations for you 3 for a fantastic race. But it's about time for us to say goodbye to Circuit of the Americas and hello to Canada. That is next week, and we will be looking forward to seeing whether Simple Chris or Jellyman Tim or anyone else can take it one step further and really stop the champion from last season taking any more victories. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the drivers, to Ollie, and for my voice for holding out as well. It has been a weird old night here in F1XL, but it's been great nonetheless. Goodbye.